It's not, I suppose energy in a way knows no boundaries or borders, and it's about making sure that it's sustainable and it's green.
I suppose energy doesn't know any borders. Unfortunately, we have a border, that's life, and we'll live with that. But I mean, even the conversation we're having today, when the very first session, they talked about not having a border, essentially. So I suppose for our businesses, for any business, it's about security of energy, or security of supply, knowing that you will get electricity when you need it, and it will, it'll be at a decent cost, I suppose, to run your business. And that fundamentally is really the issue. How do we get sustainable energy? But we also need to meet our targets of green. Green is the wrong word, I suppose. Carbon savings, is that what we call them? I think decarbonisation. We need to meet those. So this conference is really talking about all of those things, but our businesses all are talking about sustainability now. Sustainability is a real key word for everyone. I suppose years ago we talked about different things. Now it's like, how do we be more sustainable for our planet? Electricity comes into that. So I think this is a real key time. And our infrastructure, you'll know when I talk to you on other things, we're always talking about our infrastructure. Our electricity infrastructure is fundamental to us growing our region.
Yeah. And actually, I'm due to chat to Jared Carlin from Sony, which, is in charge of the infrastructure here in Northern Ireland a little later on in the show. But Anna, it's about solutions, I suppose, when there's businesses who want to make some changes or transition, then it's about, having those solutions and about choices. And a lot of that's evident here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had a presentation there just earlier from Plan Energy, and they are an example of an organisation that offers energy audits to businesses. So they'll go in, and obviously they're not the only service that we have here, but they'll go into a company and they will assess what's needed to help make those efficiencies. And as somebody said, that's one of the easiest things that an organisation can actually do. It's one of the simplest things they can do to keep their costs down. Yeah. And they're a great example of that. So.
Toni, good for these sort of things that are being discussed today, good for the planet, but also good for the pocket, good for the bottom line for businesses.
Well, this is it. I know in the south of Ireland we have the SEAI who offer grants to businesses. So we have some really good examples actually in Letterkenny, if you just pick out Century Cinema and Radisson Blu Hotel. Both full solar panels on their roofs. They have looked at every single thing they can do to reduce their energy. Mm-hmm. Could be turning the heating down a little bit. Mm-hmm. And actually one of the speakers today, that was from ESB, one of his fundamental things was, how do we as people start using less energy? Do we turn stuff off? Do we use things differently? And I suppose that was a big message. You think, well, what can I do personally? So what our businesses are doing is they're looking at their overall business. They're trying to cut their costs, obviously, because everyone wants to do that. And they're also then contributing to our reducing of carbon fuels.
Yeah. Anna, Derry's so central, obviously, in this region and the city, and also where it's situated geographically, and Foyle Port key, and then opportunities that are offshore.
Yeah, and there's a lot of work going on there, and obviously Culkira up there on the Foyle Port site is operated by ESB. That will be transitioning before 2030 to completely renewable energy, and they have plans for an offshore wind farm. And with as you say, geographically, we're the absolute perfect spot for this. Mm-hmm. So that's another reason for the combination, cross-border combination, is because we're a region that is perfectly placed for this. We also heard about the oil to gas transition as well, and the transition for the gas network to green fuels. And there's huge potential here, and a new project up there in Eglinton coming on stream very quickly. Okay. So some really good things going on in our region, and we want to highlight those.
Yeah, so plenty happening.
As a region, we could probably be sustainable in our energy. That's what the hope would be. And it's really just making sure that happens. Today they talked about a cross-border Donegal Derry rather than maybe interconnector throughout the middle of Ireland, if you know what I mean. That was a very interesting proposition, you know, that that this stuff that's happening in Kilkira could actually link back into Donegal, because we've always been talking about offshore bringing into our grid.
We might benefit both ends. We could have county connected at both ends, Tony.
That's the way I look at it. Is there's a wee
Talk
bit,
to the right people here today.
There's a wee bit of work to do in the grid in Donegal, and if we could get that sorted out through our grid and ESB networks, that would make us really a producing region, producing power that we can then use ourselves and maybe sell on.
Yes, and Conor Murphy, the DFE minister, he talked about us becoming, or Northern Ireland becoming self-sufficient and even an exporter of renewable energy. That could be done as a region here. Okay. And obviously we've got the right people in the room talking today.
Well, that's it. It's, and a lot of them are here today, and it's about, networking and, listening to key speakers and chatting and innovation. So, yeah.
And passing that message back to policymakers, passing that back to the people who can make the change happen. Yeah. There was a lot of talk this morning on one of the panels about getting everyone in the room. And we actually are really good at that in the Northwest. We're good at it in Ireland, but we're really good at it in the Northwest. So how do we get the people in the room who can make the change?
And get the right energy in the room. Is that the key?
You're also a comedian.
Okay, well listen, good luck with the rest of the day, the afternoon session. Anna and Tony, thank you very much.